Hi, my name is Nancy Watson, and I am a digital learning consultant at Region 10 Education Service Center up in the Dallas area. I am so pleased to be able to provide this information about technology tools for students with dyslexia and ADHD. One of the things that I love most about my job is the way that technology can positively impact student learning, and I think that you will find a lot to like in the presentation that you're about to watch. In this video, there will be 3 parts. The first part will cover Immersive Reader, and I'll be talking about how you can access Immersive Reader via a Chrome extension, via Pear Deck, which is an add-on for Google Slides, with Office 365, and with the Office Lens app. Part 2 will be a tutorial by one of my favorite 9-year-olds about voice typing in Google Docs. My friend has dyslexia himself, and he will tell you how to use voice typing and why he likes it as a student with dyslexia. And then Part 3 will cover some apps and extensions that might help students with ADHD. So we're going to jump right in now to the portion about Immersive Reader, one of my all-time favorite tools. I'm going to demonstrate using Immersive Reader using its Chrome extension. And later I will show you other ways that you can access Immersive Reader. So I'm going to highlight the text of this web page, and then I'm going to right-click and select Help Me Read This. The text of the web page then comes into this new page that is the Immersive Reader page. And when I come down here to the bottom, I can click and have the text read aloud.
What are biomes? Biomes are regions of the world with similar climate.
Also down at the bottom of the page, right next to the play button, is the voice settings option. So I can change the speed. I can slow it down like a turtle, or I can speed it up like a little bunny rabbit. So the speed can be changed here. You can also change whether you want it to be a male or a female voice. Now, up at the top right, I want to call your attention to these 3 different options here. The first is text preferences, and you'll see that I've got some text sizing issues, so this is great for students with visual impairments to really expand the size of the text. Increase spacing sort of is always selected by default. If it's not selected, it still gives a little bit less crowding than on the regular website, but this increased spacing is a great benefit for students with dyslexia. You have 3 fonts to choose from, and then several different themes, which will change the background color to a more contrasting color that would be more beneficial for some students with dyslexia. You can also click that drop-down menu to see even more colors. I'm going to go ahead and change it back to the light theme and go up to the grammar options now. In grammar options, I can choose to turn on syllables. So you'll notice that now each syllable is delineated by these little dots. I can also choose to turn on parts of speech. So I can choose to have nouns be turned on, verbs, adjectives, and so on. And because I have the Show Labels button on, it will also give me the tags for each one of those labels. If I want nouns to be a different color, maybe nouns in my world are green, and adjectives are the ones that are, say, purple. I can change that around, and then you can see that the parts of speech have changed color. I'm going to go ahead and turn all of these things off now, and we'll go up to reading preferences. So the line focus is an amazing tool. Think of a reading ruler or those little pieces of paper with a cutout rectangle. So when I turn on the line focus and now click the play button,
Climate, weather, temperature, animals, and plants. There are terrestrial biomes.
you can see that the line stays in the same part of the screen and the words move so that the student does not have to move that ruler up and down. There is also a picture dictionary. So if I were to click weather, I can see that I can look at a picture that indicates weather, and I can play the one individual word.
Weather, weather.
Going down to the next option, I can translate by word or by the entire document into over 60 languages. So let's go with Spanish. And when I translate by word, I can now come over here to weather, and I can see that I have the Spanish word for weather here too.
Clima, clima.
And if I translate the entire document, then I can, when I play,
¿Qué son los biomas? Los biomas son regiones del mundo con climas similares.
Immersive Reader does the same thing no matter how you access it. So in the example you just saw, I accessed Immersive Reader through a Chrome extension. The Chrome extension is available at bit.ly/IR extension. And if you're not terribly familiar with Chrome extensions, there is a link to an explanatory video in the notes below this video. Just to make sure that we understand Chrome extensions, extensions are only available on a desktop, laptop, or Chromebook computer. You cannot use the Chrome extension on a tablet device, even if you are using the Chrome browser on that device. If you would like to share the information about this Chrome extension with your students or their parents, a brief instructional video is available at bit.ly/IR howto. Pause the video now if you like and install the Chrome extension yourself. That address again is bit.ly/IR extension. Remember that once the extension is installed, you'll just need to select the text on your screen, right-click, and then click Help Me Read This to activate Immersive Reader. Another way to access Immersive Reader is by using the Pear Deck add-on that is available for Google Slides. Pear Deck is also available with PowerPoint. With Pear Deck, whenever you push out information to your students in Google Slides, they will have the option of clicking the Immersive Reader icon at the bottom right corner. All of the Immersive Reader options that were demonstrated when using the Chrome extension are available when using the Pear Deck add-on, but the Chrome extension is not necessary if you are going to be pushing the content out to students in this way. They still have the text preferences options, the grammar options, and the reading preferences, and you'll be able to try this out yourself now. So if you would like, pause the video now and go to bit.ly/R10PDIR. Please notice that the R of R10 is capitalized. PDIR stands for Pear Deck Immersive Reader. You can also use the QR code at the left if you are using a phone or a tablet device. Immersive Reader is now available in many educational apps. Please check the list below this video in the notes for more information about common educational tools that you might already use that have Immersive Reader built in. If you want to use Immersive Reader in Word, you could go to the free version, Office 365, which is office.com, and I'll demonstrate how Immersive Reader works in Word, and it's the same in OneNote. So I'm in Office 365. I'll click on Word to open a new document, and I could type something there and then have Immersive Reader read it back to me, but I will go back to my Biomes website, copy and paste that same text we were using a bit ago. I'll paste that right there, and then from View on the menu bar, I have the option to read this in Immersive Reader. And I have all the same features that I had when I was using the Chrome extension. This is a great option for use with an iPad, since extensions are not available on iPads or mobile devices. If you're thinking that you wouldn't be able to use Immersive Reader with Word or OneNote because your school is in a Google district, Microsoft does offer free Office 365 accounts for all educators and students with a school email address. Office 365 is the web-based version of Office, so you would be able to use Immersive Reader with Word or OneNote. And in order to do that, you just sign up at this address, bit.ly/free Microsoft account, and get started with Office 365 for free. The final way I'll be demonstrating how to use Immersive Reader is using the Office Lens app. Office Lens is available on Android devices as well as iOS devices, and is useful for reading the text from printed pages. The following example does not contain audio, it just shows how the app works. What do you think about Immersive Reader? Who are you excited to share it with? Pause this video and add your thoughts at bit.ly/IR thoughts. You can see what others have had to say at bit.ly/view-IR thoughts. Part 2 of this video is my friend Cooper explaining how to use voice typing in Google Docs and why he enjoys using it. I think you'll really like hearing this explained by my 9-year-old friend Cooper.
I'm going to show you how to use Google Voice. So first you go to the very top corner and click on New. Then you go to Google Docs. So you go to Tools, click on Tools. You go to Voice Typing. You see how it's gray right now? It's not picking up anything I say, but if you click on it once, it'll pick, and you have to press allow, then it'll pick up everything you say. Period. If you say period, it'll give you a period. If you say new line, it will give you a new line. New line. It gave me a new line. If you say give me a new paragraph, it will give you a new paragraph. If you say comma, it'll give it a comma. And I can delete stuff on it. For instance, delete paragraph. And a deleted paragraph. I have dyslexia and I like using Google Voice because I can concentrate on the learning and not how to spell words. You don't have to have dyslexia to use it, period. Thank you for listening to this guy.
Voice typing is available in many different languages, so if you have a learner with limited English, that student could dictate in the language that they feel most comfortable in. I'd like you to pause the video again and see if you can follow Cooper's directions to practice the voice typing in Google Docs. The final part of this video will focus on some websites, apps, and extensions that might help students with ADHD to attend better and to manage their own time better. The first of these tools is called Classroom Screen. One tool that teachers can use to help keep their students on track is called classroomscreen.com, and there are actually lots of tools that are built into this one website. I am using this text feature down here at the bottom. It's right in the middle. I have typed in the address for the website, but you could also make this be any message that you would want to share with your students. Another kind of fun thing about Classroom Screen, when I click on it, I get some options here. I'm going to just move it around a little bit, and then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and you can see that I could actually block out my entire screen, and maybe you're going to have a guessing game for your students. Maybe you would like your screen to be a different color, so I'll add a color. Maybe this one is a little bit nicer, or this one, and then that just kind of jazzes things up a little bit, and you could have a guessing game with what is behind the screen, or just have the message. I'll go ahead and close this for now because I want to show you the other features of Classroom Screen. The first option is the background, and I kind of like the London Bridge there, but there are lots of choices. I can even upload my own photo if I want to. I can choose just a solid background color if I don't want an image. And I can have even an animated background. So if you want to have a little fire going in your classroom, you could do that. I personally think that's a little bit distracting, so I'm going to go back to the Tower of London here. The second option is a random name picker, and because I have signed in, I can come up here and save name lists. So if I wanted to type in the names of some students, I could type in some student names here, and then I could save this list. So I'll set this one as the default. When I go back to my screen, here is my random list of names, and when I choose, it goes through the names and then it picks one. The next option here is the dice feature, and I can have 1, 2, or 3 dice showing, so that's a nice little way of doing some probability or guessing games with your students. The next option on the panel at the bottom here is the sound level. This will probably be more useful when everyone is back in the classroom together, not so much in remote learning situations, but it does provide a sound level for your students. So they can look up here and see if maybe their voices are a little bit too loud, and you can even set an alarm to alert them when their voices are too loud. The next one is the QR code, and you can see that the current address of this QR code is classroomscreen.com, but if you are in a classroom that uses mobile devices or phones, you could type in the web address that you wanted your students to go to, and it would be an easy way for them to access that website. Next is a whiteboard option. So I can choose my pencil, the color of the pencil, and I can write a message to my students this way. The next icon here is the work symbols, and this is nice because it gives your students some visual representations of what the expectations are for whether they are working silently or perhaps able to whisper to each other, to work in pairs and by asking a neighbor, or to work together. You can make this a little bit bigger or you can make it smaller. And with any of these, you can have more than one of them on the screen at the same time. The traffic light might give some indication of whether your students are working hard on something, if they should be wrapping it up, or if it is time to stop. This timer is nice. I can set the audio that will play at the end of the timer, and I have a variety of choices here for what will happen at the end of the timer. And when I start the timer, you can see that there's sort of an analog and a digital representation of how quickly the time is ticking away. So they see the analog version of the clock on the left there, and then the number of minutes counting down. The stopwatch, if you're having a race of some kind in your room, this is a handy thing to have quickly. The clock has the analog and the digital representation. And finally, the calendar. It tells the name of the day, the month, and the date, and it also has the representation on the calendar itself. In addition to websites that teachers can use to help students stay on track, students can also install extensions to help them stay focused and productive. One of those is called MoveIt. A second is Stay Focused, and a third is Forest. I have installed the MoveIt extension, and I have set it to alert me every 5 minutes. Now that's probably not quite long enough of an interval for what you would want to use with your students, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like, we'll see what happens in just a minute when it pops up. There we go. And my task for this particular MoveIt challenge is to pretend to complete 5 jump shots. When I'm done, I just click that to close out of it, and then in another 5 minutes, something else interesting will pop up, and it will be some random physical movement to do. To find these extensions, I'll first need to make sure that I'm in the Chrome browser, and then in the Chrome browser, I will search for the Chrome Web Store. The Chrome Web Store is always the first link that comes up. And the first extension is called Stay Focused, and you'll notice that there is no E in the word focused there. So when I search for that, I see that it's the first one that comes up. I'll click on the name of it and then click Add to Chrome. Stay Focused lets me select certain websites that might be distracting for me, and I can put a time limit on how long I need to stay away from them or how long I'm allowed to be on certain websites. So when I click on the extension, I have this settings option here, and that settings option will allow me to select how much time per day I can browse sites on my blocked list. I can come down here and click on my blocked sites. So maybe I know that social media are difficult sites for me to stay away from during the day when I am supposed to be working. So I could add facebook.com and twitter.com and maybe instagram.com. And then when I click add blocked sites, they'll come up on a list, and I can choose to take them off the list by clicking the red X. Note that each of these sites needs to be on its own line, and the directions about that are up here. I can click allowed sites and add sites that I'm always allowed to see, and then this nuclear option allows me to block all websites or everything except on my allowed sites, but this allows students to determine what sites are distracting for them and what they might need to have a little bit of help in staying away from. So that is the Stay Focused extension. Another productivity extension that your students might find useful is called Forest. So once again, I will go to the Chrome Web Store, and in the search field here, I will type the word forest. When these results come up, you'll see that a lot of the first ones are wallpapers, so I'll need to click More Extensions. And then the one that I'm looking for is this one, Forest, Stay Focused, Be Present. And I can read about it here, or just click Add to Chrome and then Add Extension. When the extension is installed, then I can click on it and it will give me a time of 25 minutes to grow a tree. And this is to encourage your students to stay focused on a task for a certain number of minutes without going to a website that might be distracting. To set the websites that are blocked, you'll click the gear, and you'll see that the block list starts out with Facebook, Reddit, YouTube. One of my is Twitter. The student can choose which URL to put in here, so maybe it's a gaming website and that kind of thing. They can also choose to set just an allowed list. So these would be the only websites that would be allowed during a planting session, is what they call it. I think it's probably easier to put things on your block list, but that would be up to you or the student. So once my sites are set, then I click the tree to start planting. And you can see that the tree now goes to a small twig. And for 25 minutes, this will be sort of working in the background. And if I were to try to go to one of those sites, say YouTube, then I will get a message that says, oh, are you sure you want to give up on your tree? So if I did give up on my tree, then it says this will kill your cute little tree. And I get this message that says my tree is dead. So then I can start this over again, and let's try again, and maybe this time I'll have more luck. So this time I will try to go to a different website, and maybe I'll go to Wikipedia, and this website is fine. So I can browse to my heart's content. If I get tired of Wikipedia and I try to go to Twitter, then I get that same message again with a reminder not to kill the tree. So this is another one that encourages students to stay on task and might be motivating so that they can make that tree grow. That is the Forest extension. Time Timer is a free smartphone app that provides a visual representation of how much time is remaining for a particular task. Add a new timer by tapping the plus sign. Give each new timer a name, and then set the number of minutes for the timer. As the seconds tick down, the color on the clock makes it easy to tell how much time is remaining. Tap the settings icon at the bottom to adjust the time, type of alarm, and the disk color. The last section of this video discusses some technology tips that might help students with organizational skills. Google Classroom creates folders for the students, and that can help very much with file management. One additional step that students can take to help stay organized is to color code those folders. This works by right-clicking the folder in Google Drive and then selecting the Change Color option from the menu. Google Classroom also creates calendars for students. The student can select which class to view from the left menu, and all assignments with due dates will appear on the calendar. Another option in Google Calendars is to create a task. The student can add the task name, can choose the date and the description for the task, and then save it on the calendar. So not only do teachers' tasks appear on the calendar, but students can add tasks themselves. Google Keep is a terrific note-taking and organizational system, and it's available in lots of different ways. You can get to it by going to keep.google.com, and it looks like this. Students can create labels that allow organization within the system. They can click on the menu on the left to see only the notes that pertain to that particular category. Google Keep is also available from within Google Calendar. So when they create a note here in the calendar, they can take the note, click Done, and almost immediately that note will appear in the Google Keep list. You can see that there is a new note there at the top left from the calendar. Another way to take notes using Google Keep is using the smartphone app. In this example, the smartphone app is being used to create a new note. I'm logged into the same account from my smartphone as I am on my desktop, and as soon as I type the note and finish writing the things that belong in the body of the note, then that note appears at the top of my Google Keep as well. This will be a great time for you to try out Google Keep. That address is keep.google.com. Google Classroom, Google Calendar, and Google Keep are all terrific tools if your school is a Google district. But if your students don't have access to those tools, one Microsoft tool that you should take a look at is OneNote. Think of OneNote as a system of 3-ring binders. You can have as many binders as you need, as many sections in each binder as you need, and as many pages behind each section as you need. So it's a great way of helping students stay organized. To access OneNote, you'll go to office.com and you'll select OneNote from the menu. Once you have logged into your OneNote account, you can see that I am in a binder, a notebook called Nancy at Region 10 Education Service Center. On the left side here, I already have some sections started. So think of these as tabs in that binder. I can add another section by coming down here to the bottom. And when I click to add a section, I'll give it a name. So I'll continue on with the naming convention that I already started and call this section 5 and say OK. And now you'll see that section 5 appears on the left. If I decide that I want these to be in a different order, it's a simple matter of clicking and dragging to put the sections where I would prefer that they end up. I can also right-click on each section to change its color. So let's say this one is going to be a blue mist. Now, within each of these sections, I also have pages. So right now I am in section 5 and I have one untitled page. As soon as I give this page a title, then you'll see that the title changes here as well, and I can add additional pages here. I've already started a page called OneNote Demo in the Practice tab or section. I can also choose to move this to another section if I need that to be in a different area. So maybe I want to put this in section 3, and now my OneNote demo is in section 3. Once I have set up my pages, I can click anywhere on the page to start typing. So I can start typing here, but I can also start typing over here. So for those students who don't think in a linear fashion, this might be really helpful. It's also a great way to do a little mind mapping. Now, there are lots of menu options up here, and most of you will be able to figure these out for yourself, so I'm not going to go over every single one, but I do want to call your attention to 2 things in particular. The first is to insert math. Up until this point, the tools that have been discussed in this video have all focused on reading. The math option in OneNote is one terrific tool for math that is not available in the other utilities. I can choose to write my equation in ink, or I can type it on the keyboard. I select it and then tap the math button, and it will turn it into an equation. So what that might look like is, if I want to draw, I could say 3x plus y equals, let's say that's going to be 12. So once I have written the equation, I can come up to the select tool, draw a box around all of it, and then click math. And you can see that the math equation has been transcribed over here. So when I click ink to math, that equation goes into the box. Now, another nice thing about this is when I go to View and Immersive Reader, Immersive Reader will read the math here.
3x plus y equals 12.
So not only do you have the Immersive Reader feature, but it also will work with the math function in OneNote. And if you just haven't been able to get enough quite yet of all of these fabulous tools that can help your students, there is a website of lots of additional tools that is available at bit.ly/dyslexia tools. This is available for anyone, and feel free to use any of the resources. You'll see that they are categorized by Chrome extensions, Immersive Reader, and Microsoft tools. There's a fabulous tool called Book Creator, and this Book Creator has many, many options for differentiated learning. There are tablet apps, some suggestions for ebooks and online reading, and more. So I hope you'll find something to love. Once again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email, nancy.watson@region10.org.